tell you what it is. Like, you know, for all the independent artists that's listening, for all the artists that's listening, period. You know, like I was fortunate enough. My career was fortunate to start off from a touring aspect. I started off as a tourer. One of the first times I got to visit the West Coast, I got to visit San Fran. I performed at the Fillmore with Method Man. I was a national opening act for his tour.
That's my dude.
2003. Yeah, so, you know, for me, before This Is Why I'm Hot, and obviously This Is Why I'm Hot came 3 years later, I was actually on the road. That was where I was making my, like, I wasn't making money back then, but I was making my way as a touring artist, and I wanted to prove to the world that I could entertain you whether or not I had a record on the radio. When This Is Why I'm Hot and obviously that's why when you listen to This Is Why I'm Hot, you hear the shout out to different locations. I shout out to Bay, I shout out to LA. Because these are all the places I visited while I was touring, while I was a young touring artist. So, you know, in return, when the This Is Why I'm Hot record took off, man, it was just like, it just solidified it. It took it from, you know, MIMS, the opening act, to whenever I got on stage, there was, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 20,000 people waiting for me to say something on the mic. Like if I farted on the mic, they would love to. So, you know, that's the love that you get, obviously, when you have a successful record. But that's not to be confused with the love that you get as an entertainer. Like, I think for me, you take away This Is Why I'm Hot, I'm still going to be that artist that's going to go out on the road and entertain people. You know, and with This Is Why I'm Hot, obviously, it adds a couple more zeros to the end of to what you get paid, but you know, it doesn't take away from your ability to entertain. So I'm appreciative of the record, but at the same time, I love touring and I love doing shows so much that 20 years from now, what I hope to accomplish is I hope to set a base to where, you know, rap artists no longer get that whole stigma like, oh, you're too old to do this. And it becomes just like the country artists. Like, we're going out there and touring for the rest of our lives and having a good time doing it, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, I definitely feel what you're saying. I'm, you know, for me, I'm glad for the track. You know, it did move a lot of people in the club, but for me, it got to know you, and it got to know you. You know, I'm kind of like a nerd. You know, I stay on the computer side of hip hop, you could say. You know, and follow what artists are doing. And I seen your work, and I'm like, this guy's a real artist. You know, and I seen what you were pushing with World Star and all that, and I'm like, man, this guy. Like, and it showed, you know, you got on a track with KRS-One. I mean, could you tell me about that? Because for me as a fan, that was kind of like, you know, like my moment.
For me, it's like, all right, the one thing that people, you know, they judge you based on what they hear.
They do.
You know, I came out right around the time, and no disrespect to any other artists, but I came out around the time that you got, you know, myself, you got the Soulja Boys, you got, you know, what they deemed the ringtone era of rap music. And and I respected it because I made a lot of money in that world, and that's something that I'll never shun away. But on the flip side, you know, I'm always going to be a musician, man. I grew up in the studio. That's my spiel. So I had the opportunity. I was in the studio in New York. I was actually recording a couple tracks, like for a project that I planned on putting out. I think it was either my second album or mixtape or something like that. And one of the producers in the studio, he actually had a track with Redman and KRS-One that he was interested in putting out. You know, not to say that I deserve to be on the record, don't get me wrong, but I went in the studio and I wowed him so much with the song that I was creating with him, and he was a fan, he was a believer. He turned it from that, oh, I didn't know Mr. This Is Why I'm Hot could rap like this, and then that turned into, yo, I'm gonna call KRS-One, I'm gonna call Redman, I'm gonna see if I can put you on this record. And you know, as soon as he said that, I was honored. I jumped on it like in a heartbeat, man. So you know, that's a situation, once again, just like touring with Method Man and a legend like him, and being able to do a record with KRS-One. My last album, I did a record with Nice and Smooth. These are things that I'm a fan of hip hop. So when I get these opportunities, I jump on them in a heartbeat.
Seeing that track is like, you know, a lot of great MCs, and you performed great on that track, and you were with legends. So I know a lot of artists that probably would just clam up, you know what I'm saying, being on a track with such legends. But I love the track, love what you did with it. I do want to point out that you were one of the first artists to actually have went platinum off a ringtone.
I mean, obviously it was a new, a new thing back in 2006, 2007. Everybody had to get, songs on their cell phones. I think nowadays nobody pays for it anymore, but back then that was the thing. You got a cell phone, you want a special ringtone, and it just so happened that my phone was the most popular at the time, and we pushed a lot of units. So I still didn't get a plaque for it yet. I'm waiting for it from the RIAA. So
oh wow,
send me a plaque real soon. But yeah, that's definitely a good experience. And honestly, it's not even just being the first, but it's also opening the doors for other artists to come in and do the same thing and have successful careers afterwards. Because remember, we do this to change the face of hip hop and rap, or whatever you want to call it, hip hop rap. We do it to change the face of it. I feel like I'm one of the artists that kind of blended my way into that digital world to open up the doors for whoever's successful in the industry right now.
Now with success, every artist that is successful, there definitely comes an attribute to that. Can you tell us about the worst hater you've ever had? Going